Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Okay, I'm going to start with a rhetorical question because I already know the answer before I ask it. But the question is, have you ever been around that overt or covert narcissist who over time reveals they have to be dominant? They have to have the upper hand. They have to have the final word. It's not as though they just want it. They must have it. And when you look at individuals who choose to live life in this way, you realize there's such a pathology that goes along with that. And I want to see if I can go through some of the things that you might experience that illustrate to you that you're dealing with a very unhealthy individual here. And it's not something you need to get suckered into. But let's just take a look at some of the things that narcissists will do as they go into this high dominance mode. And then I have some questions that I'd like to ask that person. Now, first of all, when we talk about somebody that must be dominant, these are individuals who are not at all bashful about using threats against you. They operate with what I call shutdown communication. They'll just pronounce their ideas and thoughts and preferences, and there is no room for dissension. They stubbornly will require your conformity. They'll refuse to accept any kind of alternate responses or perspectives from anyone else. They'll insult you. They can't be counted on to blend well. They'll punish you for being distinct. They'll give advice to you when you neither want it nor need it. They can be highly critical. They operate with what I refer to as a lot of imperative thinking. You better, you have to, you must. They go into automatic defense mode whenever there's any hint of a confrontation. They control by telling lies, by being secretive, by micromanaging, by being a bully, by refusing to be a team player, by using intimidating anger. I could go on. And I want you to think, how healthy is that? And how many times have you run across this? And when you see the pervasiveness of what I'm talking about, when they come across to you in this dominance way, it brings up all sorts of thoughts and desires from you that you want to express to that individual. But unfortunately, part of their dominance is they won't listen to you. Now, I said I have some questions I'd like to ask this person. Now, usually it's going to fall on deaf ears, but here's what I'd like to say, and I'm guessing that I'm voicing questions that you would also have for that individual. The first question I would have is, what have you become? Are you afraid of other individuals in such a way that you must be in this kind of mindset towards others? And by the way, are you proud of yourself for treating people in this disdainful way? Another question is, you like to dole out all of this control and dominance. Do you appreciate it when people act that way in reverse toward you? I hardly think so. Is intimidation really the best strategy for you to get results and get what you want? Is that the only tool you have in your shed? Seriously, that's it? Do you really believe that you have the right to demean other individuals? Apparently they think so, but I have different thoughts on that one. Is your way of life, your opinions, your preferences, the only way that's out there? Do you not acknowledge that there are other individuals who have their distinctions too, and that can be okay? What are you so threatened by when other people differ from you? What kind of relationships do you ultimately think that you're going to have when you have to pound people into submission? I dare say it's not going to be satisfactory to either side of that equation. Or are you just so blind to your dysfunction that you genuinely do not see it? And I know that there are so many of you out there who will say, "Oh yeah, I've been with that person." And we can we can go so far as to say it's normal for each one of us to want to have some level of control. We want to have some agency. In other words, we want to be able to say, well, here's my life and here's how I'm going to live it. We all want to have a certain amount of order or predictability or stability. But we also want to recognize that our efforts to be in control of our lives need to be done with a sense of mutuality. And that's where the narcissist completely misses it. To them, they're thinking it's either I defer to you or you defer to me. They're extremely binary in the way that they approach relationships, and I'm not about to defer to you. I'm not going to let that happen. And so in their effort to try to be in control, the pendulum swings so far to one side that they just can't pull themselves out of it. So, what does it mean when the narcissist has such an enormous blind spot and they simply cannot and will not pull out of this dominant style of living toward you? What does this tell us? Now, first and foremost, this tells me that this is an individual who very clearly believes that the world is not safe. In their deep history, inevitably, they must have received all sorts of messages that says, if you show me the fullness of who you are, I'm going to make you pay. This is not going to work. You can show me the good stuff, but if I find out that there are any flaws or just differences, you're going to get clobbered. And so somehow they've drawn that conclusion in their own mind. They learn very early on that dominance is the way to be a somebody. They have felt dominated. They've been under the rule of authoritarian individuals. And so they decided, well, one day then I'll become the one who gets to be the dominant person. And rather than thinking, I never did like it when people treated me in this condescending way, they don't think like that. They think, well, I'm standing in line, and when I have the chance, I'll be the one that does it next. The lack of insight and awareness on that is astonishing. They're extremely now-oriented. That's another thing that we can tell by their need for dominance. And when I say now-oriented, what I mean is they don't think about the future. For example, if I have to dominate you by telling secrets or telling lies or threatening you or being harsh, okay, where is this relationship going? And you can see it's not going anywhere good, but they don't think about it. All they think is, well, I want dominance and I want it right now. It doesn't even occur to them to consider how to respond to other individuals with empathy. These individuals never did develop the characteristic of empathy. And in their dominance, it also tells us that these people are perpetually stuck in pre-adolescent reasoning. Now, they can appear to be adult, they can appear to be grown up until it comes time to manage conflict, or it comes time to say, I was wrong, or it's time for them to listen to you or to make adjustments. Then they just revert to that pre-adolescent way of thinking. They're like little children, and they're very difficult to reason with, and any kind of deeper thinking just simply does not register. Now, here's the irony of all of this. You have somebody who's incredibly troubled, like what I'm describing. And these are individuals who are operating with a very low level of awareness and insight, like I say, the pre-adolescent thinking. And yet there are so many systems where these individuals rise to the top and they're the ones calling the shots. Now, we can be talking about inside a family system. We can be talking about inside a business or social structures or politics or religious organizations or just organizations in the social realm or in the public realm. Somehow these individuals have figured out, well, if I can weasel my way up to the top and intimidate and dominate everybody along the way, then the world's going to be a lot better place. And you're thinking there's no reason for that whatsoever. And yet there they are. Now, when you realize that you're dealing with individuals who have this craving, this need to be dominant, and all of the unhealthiness that goes with it, you have a particularly interesting challenge. And the first challenge that you have is you can't afford to step into the game with them. They either want you to be intimidated. They love that when you just lay down and give up your uniqueness to them. Or sometimes you'll just decide, well, what I'll do is if you punch me in the nose, I'll punch you in the nose right back. And you play the game and you become just like the person that you're complaining about, which makes no sense to me. And so this does mean that we're going to need to say, okay, these individuals exist. They're out there. I accept the fact I don't like it, but I accept the fact that that's where they are. But I'm going to go with a much higher level of awareness. I realize that there are nuances, there are complexities, there are just unique circumstances that need to be taken into account. Each individual needs to take responsibility for themselves, and I'm going to operate on the higher awareness that is required to go into that space. Now, along with that higher awareness can come a feeling of futility because you so wish that these individuals could come along with you. Here you're trying to think in terms of true adult thinking, and they're still back there trying to drag you into childlike, playground bully kind of stuff. But I'm hoping you can decide I am going to maintain my assertiveness. I'm going to set my stipulations and consequences and initiatives. The assertiveness probably needs to be more in the direction of behavioral assertiveness as opposed to just, speak it, but just know that they're probably not going to agree with you. So let your actions do your talking for you. When people think and imply, I have to have dominance, I've got to be on top. These are individuals who haven't figured out life well whatsoever. A healthy way of life is based on mutual respect. Certainly it's based on love and goodness and decency, civility, dignity. Here on Team Healthy we say dignity, respect, and civility. And somehow, as clear as those concepts are, there are some people that think, nah, I don't do that. Or they, even worse, they may say, oh, I do that all the time, when in fact they're just kidding themselves. So I'm going to conclude by saying I'm not afraid when that person goes into the control mode. I don't like it, but instead what I'm going to do is, in fact, I find it pitiable. I'm going to go ahead and be me. I'm not afraid of being me. You, the narcissist, are afraid of me being me, but I'm not. I hope that videos like this can give you some awareness of what you're dealing with. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. And we're going to keep more videos coming. I hope the cumulative effect helps you in your own personal growth. You know that there are times when you're dealing with something like this that you might need some therapy, and you know that I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. And the reason that I encourage you to go in that direction is there's simply times when you need somebody who has that objectivity and that care and that understanding that can help walk you through some insights and awarenesses so that you can have that make the adjustments necessary. So please, as the need is there, you have the link below you can go to. Look into the BetterHelp people and the online therapy and get the help that you need. I think you'll be really pleased once you get that help. Likewise, I've also put together my own courses that are my way of trying to put some therapeutic ideas out there for you, and they're very extensive. Each of the courses has at least 25 videos with written documents, handouts that go along with each video. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making healthy connections. This is me about having your good boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers. We have a brand new one coming up called Anger Games that'll be coming very soon. You have those resources on our website. We also have access to my webinars and podcasts and many articles, my books. So we have lots of resources for you. Okay, the narcissist shows up, and they may not say it out loud, but the message is when you're in my presence, you're going to be in second place, and it's going to be a distant second place. I have to dominate. And in your mind, you can think, well, that's your game. I'm not playing that game. All I know is I'm a whole lot more effective when I'm just the me I need to be. You can have whatever delusional thinking you want, but I'm going to proceed towards a life of my own steadiness because, you see, I'm dedicated to being a person not of chaos, which is what they bring, but I want to be a person of peace.